Hi, everybody, and welcome to Be in the Know, Table Games and More. And today I'm very excited because a few weeks ago I was at the Table Games Conference, and it was AI crazy. And I mean, it was so AI it drove me nuts. I mean, I'm into stuff like that, and I have one of the co-founder Matthieu of one of these great AI products that are coming down the line. And probably 5-10 years from now, this will be old hat. Everybody will have some kind of product, and we all have some sort of this product out there affecting our lives on a daily basis. So, Matthieu Clas, welcome to Be in the Know.
Happy to be here. It's great.
So, I always start off these sessions the exact same way. I want to know, how you got any connected in table games. And I'm not sure if you had any kind of a gaming background before you got into AI that affects gaming and casinos. Give us a little background on how this all started for you.
Yeah, so for me, I fell right into the casino industry. Totally correct. Before starting Hookmotion, I had very little experiences with casinos. How we actually started this company generally is that I was actually still a student. I was studying mechanical engineering, and I had the chance of listening to a presentation by a casino company from here in Quebec, who were presenting sort of their challenges. They were looking for interns, people to come in and help them on the challenges they were facing with table games. And, I, not coming from that industry, when I learned of these sort of issues that they were having, how hard they were to track, that there was frauds, there were errors, they had troubles understanding really what's going on these tables. The first thing that came to mind to me, like most people not in the industry, is you see like Ocean's 11, you're like, man, for sure they must have had some crazy system, complicated thing. And when I learned that the reality wasn't that at all, it's still a lot of people doing their best trying to just understand what's going on in table games. To me, it was a question of, well, if nobody's doing it now, then it's going to be us. So from that one presentation, a company really looking for interns, I saw that there was this problem. Talking to other casinos, that's when I really started to understand what this actually meant. And that's from that moment on that I really dove deep into table games, how they work, and how we can try to improve them.
So you don't personally have any hands-on dealing experience or nothing like that, huh? That's no. Amazing. Looking at your product and how well it addressed some of the issues that we faced out there. And I was all expecting to, when I seen your presentation, to see, how you had all these cameras and things hooked up, or maybe you had a body cam on the dealer and all that. I found out you have nothing. You use existing surveillance cameras that the casino already has. They don't have to go out and buy this hardware for your software.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, when we started, our whole goal is to try to have the least impact as possible on the gaming floor. There's already so much going on, right? So we look at casinos and we know that they have hundreds and hundreds of cameras, usually in a very specific locations. Cameras are always usually placed at least over table games in a specific angle. And we figured, well, before we start adding extra stuff, let's try to see and maximize what we can do with the existing infrastructure that's here right now. So that's why we really concentrated on the use of artificial intelligence and computer vision, so that we can connect to these existing cameras and try to extract as much as we can in terms of information from the existing overhead camera.
So a question I wanted to ask you was there, and I never got the chance to, was I mean, of course, nobody has a catwalk anymore. Maybe there is somewhere in the world. Somebody's still got somebody looking down at somebody. But I probably bet some remote location still has analog cameras versus high depth. Does your system work with an age system, or is it only high depth cameras that will make it function?
No, it really works with any camera that's existing. We have certain sets of features that down the line will require some high resolution cameras. But for the stuff we're doing right now, we work on everything. In fact, even if you have a high def camera, we don't use all that resolution. We don't need it. Something specific that we do is we run real time. So we have to look at every single frame. So we don't even, looking at a high definition image would just be too much data for us to actually deal with.
So, okay, you walked into Rivers, Philadelphia. That happens to be my current workplace. and you're going to tell me everything that this thing can do for me. So let's hear your pitch.
Yeah. So as of right now, today, what we can do is connect to your existing overhead cameras. It takes us, 2 weeks to a month and a half to train the system to really recognize what's going on there. And then from that point on, we can start automating the collection of data when it comes to how many people are sitting around their table games, how many positions are actually being used, the utilization of side bets, all that linked as well with the speed of games. So it's not just a question of all this information, but putting it all together so we can know how many people are sitting at the table, how many positions each player is using, and how all of that relates to the speed of games. So right now we're really at a stage where we're doing extracting of that data and we're getting reports out of it. But down the line, our goal here is to be able to connect to existing table management systems and player management systems so that we can automate giving out of points. So a big thing we're concentrating on is really being able to understand your clients. So as soon as somebody sits down at the table, even before we know who that person is, we can start tracking them. So we see exactly how long they've been playing, how many hands they've been playing, how much they're playing on average, and ultimately input that into the marketing system. So you can know who are your good players. That's one element of it. But the second element is just from that raw data that we've extracted, you have a much better understanding of how well your tables are performing and if there's anything you can do to basically increase profitability.
So let me understand. You have an ability to recognize the bet average. Am I understanding you right?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's something that we'll be implementing in the next couple of months. We're not aiming for that exact bet. So it's a very important distinction that we want to make perfectly clear. We're not claiming with the overhead camera we can't tell exactly how much everybody is betting. But over a certain period of time of people playing multiple games, we're able to get an average. So a much better average than what's currently being done. Because what's currently being done when you're trying to rate players is that somebody will look at them and try to estimate how much they're playing. And the reality is that that task isn't being done very often. So most often, player's going to sit down, you're going to sort of give them an average bet, and that's probably going to be it. Maybe if you're lucky, you're going to change that once or twice during the gaming day, during that period, play period. So what we're really aiming for is automating that process and then improving it. So we're able to get multiple readings along that game duration. So the goal is to give a better average.
So when I watched the demo, it appeared to me that you also could track the count. You could figure out pretty much where the true count stood. Was I correct about that? Yeah.
If you want, I can show a bit of a demo. I'll show you with a view of what our software sees.
Oh, that's great. Let's see it.
Yeah. Give me a second. So. And I want to make this clear. What I'm going to be showing here is not what sort of our software looks like. It's not what you're going to be using in a casino. Okay, this is really what our software sees. That's the way it understands the world. And from there, we're still working on extracting as much value out of that as possible. So as I said, this is from our lab environment. It used to be in this room when we used to have a lab. Now we transitioned to only really working with real live environments. But this is our lab environment. So we see that overhead camera view, might obviously vary from casino to casino, how that exact framing is. And what we're seeing here is a lot of lines on this table. And those lines are representing things that our computer has detected. So if we look around, we can see that we've detected that there are initial, bet positions. And we also notice that there are some side bet positions here as well. We also extract information about players, so there's players around, and exactly their contour. It's not just that there are players at the table, but exactly where they are and how are they interacting with the table game. So we play around, as somebody places bets on their betting positions, we know that the position is active, and we know who placed the bets as well. And as cards are being placed, we're able to know where they're placed, obviously. And it's very small in this video, but we're also able to tell sort of the value of these cards. So ultimately, then we can extract a whole bunch of information here. We can know who wins, who loses, who places the bets, and then ultimately a whole host of information can be extracted. So because we track the cards and we know what value they are, that also ultimately means that yes, we can track true and running count. And down the line, this is not something we're doing right now, but we'll be able to tell you and rate players based on their decisions, right? So we can track true and running count. We can see decisions of the players based on what cards are being dealt. And ultimately, all that feeds into sort of in the surveillance area, so knowing if somebody might be counting, but ultimately simply into marketing, because when we're going to be assigning points to somebody, you want to know what the house edge is, and you can have a customized house edge per client. So you can really use that information when it comes to rating players.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I'm almost positive you did show some sort of video that was from a live casino at the conference.
Yeah.
And looks like a lot of your, there you go.
Yeah, so this is actually something that I can show that the casino let us do this. I mean, obviously blurred out a lot of the faces. This is sort of what's running right now. This is an accelerated version where we take a snapshot at every round so that we can know what are the position utilization. So right now, this is where we're going on. I think that session was in the 500 rounds, but we have much more data, obviously. So the goal here is we can track exactly how many rounds have happened, what the positions are used at any given time, the utilization of side bets. In this scenario, they have 2 side bets, so we can even tell which side bet is used more often than the next, and ultimately speed of games. So we get speed of games according to how many people are playing, how many side bets are being placed, etc. So we have all that raw data right now that we work on, basically extracting, as I usually say, value out of it. So how can we help the casinos make better decisions from this data?
So unlike some of your competitors that use cameras on the game itself, you're not at the mercy of somebody sticking their hand in the camera or bottle of hand sanitizer or something like that, blocking your camera from getting these accurate reads on hands per hour, bet utilization. There's none of that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't now, maybe you're not at an angle where you're going to get chip death. And that's where you're going to have an issue with bet recognition. But everything else, the accuracy level has to be amazing, taking it from the overhead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason we decided to take overhead, you're totally correct, right? People are adding cameras and they have specific features that we can't achieve. And we know that. And it's a different strategy that we're taking because the way cameras are placed and the way everything is done on a table game is meant so that surveillance can see what's going on, right? We have this sort of environment that's meant to do that. So we figured, well, casinos are already acting in a way where everything needs to be seen by the surveillance cameras. How about we use that? And
so,
yeah.
I seen an outline of the chip rack.
Yeah.
Are you actually tracking the rack as it goes in and out? Are you able to do that?
It's something we're working on.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's something we're working on. We don't have the results we're looking for as of right now to start implementing it in casinos, but it's something that our team is working on.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking, and I said, "Wouldn't it be interesting if you put a camera underneath?" And now the rack is clear, and the camera, nothing obstructing the camera, and it could count the rack as it went in and out, and there you would have another whole. And I'm sure that's something you're working on, another whole set of alerts that, hey man, this game's it's losing 5,000 in the last 5 minutes. Ping, I get something on my phone, which would be very handy for me. So it's really amazing. And where you do so right now, you have some sort of beta test or something going on in a casino in Canada, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the video I just showed wasn't from Canada. We did some beta tests as well in a casino in Mexico. But right now we're really working on doing like live and continuous data collection instead of live casino environments, and we're doing that here in Canada. So something we transitioned to, and I think a lot of companies in the space have had that same issue, that going from the lab to a real casino environment is a total different ballgame. And so our strategy is actually to not have a lab anymore and to only work on live environments or recorded videos from those live environments. And that's been a tremendous help towards the development since we made that transition.
So how much pushback, jurisdictions, depending where you go, they get very protective of the views of the tables. Like if you know the exact angle that you're going to be able to attack it somewhere. I'm not really I don't buy that theory that, in fact, I can't have surveillance in my office in the state of Pennsylvania. They just don't allow it. Now in Nevada, I could have surveillance of every corridor and every game. In fact, when I was at the D in Golden Gate, I could watch both properties at once. So it was kind of amazing how liberal Nevada was compared to some of these. Have you found that the regulators give pushback to this?
Well, there's usually always, and there will always be some pushback, in the sense that I think it's mostly being able to make people understand what is the goal of all this and what the value is that we're bringing. And that's why we're not trying right now to go absolutely everywhere. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in sort of, one or two casinos, so that we can show the value of the product first. Once we have and we're able to show that case study and that ROI and the advantages to the surveillance team, then it's another discussion. Because really all of this is just about showing that it's worth the troubles of getting through these steps, and showing that what we're doing is safe. The way we run our software is we run it in-house. We don't keep any of the videos. So, we understand these are issues that we need to deal with. And as of right now, the strategy here is to really demonstrate the value, so that we can start having those discussions where it's not just, you want to come in and start using your cameras. It's, you want to start using your cameras because suddenly you can start tracking and having alerts as soon as somebody might be doing something illegal, something out of play. So it's definitely a concern. And to me, it's just a question of showing value.
So I've seen your software on blackjack, right? And I'm sure you can do it on other carnival games. How about the games like craps and roulette baccarat? Is that something that it can also be done with an overhead camera?
Yeah, 100%. Not all the features are perfectly transferable. I mean, they're different games. They operate in a different fashion, but it's the same software, right? So from those overhead cameras, we can still extract a whole lot of value. It's just slightly different. So right now, we do certainly have an expertise or a focus on blackjack and carnival games. But when it comes to craps and roulette, we can still extract a whole lot of value, still knowing the interactions of the players with the game. A lot of what we learned, from our conference where we were at a couple weeks ago in terms of pinches or pass posting, we can obviously detect all of those things because it's fairly simple for our software to know. Nobody's supposed to touch chips right now, and obviously somebody's touching their chips. So we can definitely work on those games and give out alerts.
I would think so. Just that you would be able to program actions by the players into this as well. So a person is not, when the dealer exposes their tiles in a tiles game, nobody's body should move at all, right? Mm-hmm. So if you see a player that has moved as soon as the tiles are flipped, they're probably trying to either pinch their bet or adjust their tiles or something like that. So yeah, this is Matthieu, this is amazingly cool, man. I mean, I'm really I'm really digging it. Now, are you going to be showing at the G2E?
I'm not exactly sure yet, because I'd love to be able to do a live demo, but it's not something that we really have in our cards right now, because we're working so hard on doing inside casino installations. I mean, I'm for sure we'll be at G2E walking around, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have a booth this year.
All right, well, that's cool too. I mean, maybe you just have a little side party and get a few people drunk and show them, hey, this is what we got going on here, So yeah. That seems to be the MO out there, But well, it was fascinating getting to meet you, Matthieu, and I think you're on to something here. And if we can ever help you, let me know. If I'll tell you, I'm never, ask anybody. Anybody that's watched the show knows I'm not afraid to tell people like it is. It's funny, like things like this, products and games. Before the pandemic, I would have 5 or 6 people message me on LinkedIn a month with games that they were trying or products they were trying to push and for an opinion. And that's really slowed down. That really concerned me. And I think a lot of people, run out of time with products. I'm glad to see a company like yours is up and running, and honestly, because you got the future of this industry in your hand, man. And you're young and you're smart, and God, I hate people that are smarter than me, man. I really do. And this is really aggravating me. But you know what, Matthew, thanks so much for coming on, Be in the Know. And anything else you want to pass on to our viewers before we call it a day?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. Really appreciate being able to be here. And if I would like to pass on something is that, as I said before, we fell in this face first, but as I said, I don't have, everything I learned about casinos, it's by talking to people like you or to interacting with people in the industry. So I love it if I'm able, if anybody wants to ask any questions, has any concerns, I said something really stupid and you want to tell me about it, like to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Matthieu Clas. I think it's going to be hopefully under my face. And just reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's really what we're looking for, is to learn from people who have all those years of experience. So that's why I'm really happy to be here and to talk to you about it as well. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
You guys got a website address, and
Yeah.
I'll throw that on the description here of the video down here.
Awesome.
So everybody, go to the site, check it out. There's some other demos on there. And reach out to Matthieu, give him some insight, because this is our future, and I'm really, really excited. And I hope to see you again at G2E, Matthieu. Everybody, there's a subscribe button in here. I appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel so you get more content like this in the future. And besides that, if you need information, you got to be in the know. So stop back and see us again. Thanks, everybody. Take care.